Hi there, this is Rodney Walker of Get Funded with Rodney, and I'm super excited today to have a special guest. I'm happy to bring to you Elizabeth Starr. Elizabeth just recently completed the Rising Star Grant Writing Coaching Program and the Trailblazers Program, and I'm excited to bring her to you today. She's coming all the way from Toledo, Ohio. Welcome today, Miss Elizabeth.
Thank you, Rodney. Thank you so much.
I'm excited to have you today. And listen, you have a background, I believe, in education as well as in mental health. I believe you were an educator been an educator for at least 10 years and also have a history in the mental health area. Tell me a little bit about you and where you come from and some of your history.
Sure, Rodney. So I have been an educator for 10 years, supporting students and doing student engagement and building relationships and just trying to move students forward academically. I do have a background in mental health as well, and I have experience with working with elderly. And I've always been, as interesting as it is, I've always been fascinated with the idea of grant writing.
Wow.
My first job in education was a grant-funded position, and that piqued my interest back then 10 years ago.
Wow.
I've always been interested in doing research, and I'm a pretty strong writer. And so that curiosity about grant writing always just fostered in the back of my mind. And I ran into your program, Grant Central USA, through an offer to attend your live webinar for free through our local library system here.
Okay.
And so once I attended that, it hooked me in. And I talked to one of your team members, and I knew it was something that I wanted to pursue.
Wow.
And I could tell it was a good program.
Wow, that's great. So you had an interest for 10 years, but you prior to that 10 years, that was a while. It took, I mean, the interest was peaked early, but it eventually took a while. What took so long, would you say?
Honestly, I had my doubts. I worked in education, and I thought for a long time that was where I was meant to be. But that curiosity never dissipated. So when I saw this open opportunity through Grant Central USA, that's when I knew I had to go for it.
Got it. So you had the interest, you were in education, you thought that was solely it, but then the door opened and you said, okay, great, let me take advantage of it. And then you kind of move from there. So tell me this, you took it, but you said you had doubts. Tell me about the doubts. What kind of doubts did you have?
Well, I didn't know if I was a strong enough writer. I didn't take the next step and do the research on even how to find grant opportunities or how to get myself educated on how to do grant writing. So I just really, I guess I doubted my abilities and my sort of motivation to move forward doing that.
Got it. You know, I think a lot of people find themselves in that same position. I know when I was first starting out, it was it's very daunting because it's like grant writing. It seems like it's
Yes.
like some big intimidating thing. But
Absolutely.
you did take the first step, and I want to commend you for that. You took the first step, and then tell me about after you start taking the first steps. Was it still scary for you, or tell us about that experience after you attended the training webinar and you started moving forward? Was it still scary, or what did it look like?
Oh, sure. It absolutely was still scary. There was a whole range of emotions, and but you were right there with me, and you understood that. And I mean, it was exciting, intimidating. And then at times I felt really confident, like I got this, and then it would be scary again. So, I mean, I definitely felt a full gamut of emotions going through it. But I mean, you've got to trust the process. You've got to trust the program and just keep going.
Got it.
Yes.
Wow. So okay. You eventually started, but you say even in the midst of it, hey, this is still scary. I guess because it was so new? Tell me, why was it still scary for you?
Sure. Well, I think it was still scary for me because I, in the midst of writing a grant, I just started doubting myself and thinking, is this good? Would this even catch a funder's, eye?
Uh-huh.
So I guess I just started doubting certain parts of the grant proposal. I thought, ooh, the budget, I'm not very good with math, or so that kind of thing was intimidating. But you don't have to be. You don't have to be good at math to write a budget in a proposal. So
Yeah.
it just kind of takes actually writing the grant proposals to figure that out.
Yeah. It's really interesting you say that, because I know when I first started, I had some of those same gut feelings, emotions, and it sounds like from what you're saying, a part of it is just a natural process that you kind of have to go through. You have to get over those fears, and you
Absolutely.
got over those fears. How did you get over those fears, by the way?
Well, I just kept going. I do meditate, and I think that helped me a great deal. Positive visualization, and just having that confidence, looking at what I did do right. And honestly, a lot of what I learned through Grant Central USA made a lot of sense to me.
Mm,
It sits well because I get it. It clicks. Lots of aha moments, if you will.
got it. What would you say probably was one of your biggest aha moments?
Well, I mean, there's several throughout the program that I felt, but um, one of the first aha moments to me was when we learn about the three-legged stool grant writing.
Okay.
And so, I mean, of course, you want your grant to be well written and well designed. That's a given to me, but yes, important. And then also well researched.
Mhm.
But the third factor, which I was really excited about, is the relational factor, contacting that funder,
Yeah.
making that connection, building that relationship. And I mean, that helps you research it as well, because you need to make sure that grant is a good match for your organization. And so to me, that really, it all made sense, and it was an aha. Um,
You sound like you're ready to teach a class, because you sound like you really got it, and I hear it in you, which is great. So
Good.
bravo to you. Let me give you a high five.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
hear it, which is great. So you had those different elements that you saw, and that was an aha moment for you. But it sounds like the part that really excited you was the relational part. Tell me more about why that part was so exciting for you.
Well, one of the things about grant writing is, I kind of looked at it as more of an independent career, but it's
Mhm.
really not. And I really enjoy working with people. And just the fact that in this career, I will still do that, was just such a great realization for me.
Yeah,
Building that relationship, working collaboratively, and also on the team with the organization. And that was another big takeaway for me, is that you're going to write a better grant proposal if you're working with a team and collaborating with
mm,
people who are going to be doing the project or overseeing the project, working with executive director or project manager. I mean, the more collaborative you can be with a team, the better your proposal is going to be.
absolutely. You are ready to teach this. You sound like it. I hear it. So it's really good. So you saw then, it sounds like these different skills that you already had, that you were able to work in this environment as a grant writer. What were some of the main skills, if you had to think about, hey, you've been an educator, there may be some other educators watching right now. You've been in the mental health arena as well. What were some of those relational skills, or some of those other skills that you had, that you said, oh, wow, this transfers over here?
Absolutely. Okay, well, definitely interpersonal communication,
Hmm.
um, research, writing,
Yeah.
active listening. I
Hmm.
mean, definitely active listening, especially when you're talking with a funder, and also when you're talking with other members of the organization, you need to truly understand the project and the mission of the organization, the purpose and the need for the project, and all of those kinds of factors to write a good, solid proposal, to really believe in what you're doing and helps you do it well. So those are some of the transferable skills.
That's a good list. And I think a lot of people that I know, when they're thinking about doing grant writing, they think that they're starting at ground zero. And one of the things I love doing is saying, no, you're not starting at ground zero. You've been doing this, you already done this, you've already written papers before. If you can write a 8-page paper in college or a 10-page paper, grant writing is so doable as well, because it ends up doing a lot of the same thing. Tell me this, Elizabeth, so you started on the journey, and let's start back when you first went into the training. You first, if I remember correctly, started probably about midway before the class was actually going to be taking place, and you went through some of the online resources. What was it like learning online? Because some people have learned online, others have not learned online. What was it like being able to go online to get some of the lessons?
To me, I got more out of it than I would in a traditional classroom, because all of the resources are right there for you. It's so well organized. You've got transcripts from the lectures. You've got the guides, which you can print out. There's even, you give tips on how to start organizing yourself within one of the first videos. So to me, I mean, just the fact that it's accessible 24/7 and it's all in that one spot, it worked better for me than it would, going to a traditional classroom and taking notes or getting handouts and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to deal with any traffic.
That too.
Yeah, well, good. And the cool thing is that you could learn whenever. When did you learn? You can learn whenever you want to, but when did you do most of your studying?
Well, honestly, I mean, that's another great thing, is the flexibility of it. Because I was able to, I mean, I was still working, and so I was able to do it after work in the evening times. That's when I would go through the lectures and study the handouts. So that was another really great thing. Just committing that time. I will say it works a lot better if you set up a schedule for yourself. So you designate time. That was one thing I had to learn, is to structure your day so that you have it planned in and you know when you're going to do your Grant Central work.
Very smart, very smart. Okay, so then you start the process, you have your schedule, you're coming in, you're putting in the time, and then we eventually start having our coaching sessions on those days that we met. What was it like? Because you became really, really tight friends with one of the people that were in the cohort. Tell me what it was like when you came in and started doing the week by week sessions the bi-weekly sessions that we had.
Okay, that was so helpful. That is one, I learned so much with those bi-weekly sessions. It's 2 hours a week. I mean, you basically it's basically a mentorship or an apprenticeship. So, I mean, that was so helpful. And I did become very close with one of the other students. We talk almost every day and we help each other. I think in one of the lectures, you talk about how important it is to get support from others in your life and who really understand your mission and what you're trying to do, and learning grant writing, starting a business, or just better your knowledge in writing grants for your nonprofit. It is important, and it's important to have that support and, for other people to know what you're doing. And so, but you also mentioned surround yourself with other people in this realm of business. So it's good that, we are so close, because we check in with each other, and it's kind of a checkpoint. So it's great. It's great. And I mean, those bi-weekly sessions are when you learn a lot. You do get homework, things to follow up on right away. So it really helps your development in knowledge base for grant writing.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I love. Love getting a chance to have the interaction with other people that's doing it. And we're not just doing like stuff that's, trivial work. We were working on the actual proposal. Now,
Yes,
tell me about this. With your project, you actually did a couple of different projects,
yes.
and we let people choose which one they want to do. Tell us about how you went about choosing the project that you decided to write your actual proposal for when we were having our biweekly sessions.
Sure. So I do have a mental health background, and so was familiar with an organization that I worked a little bit with or did some research for in my undergrad. So I reached out to them, and they did want help with writing a new grant proposal for a new project. And it was very, I would say it came pretty naturally to find someone to write a grant for. When you're making that offer, I mean, just be bold and make the calls, and you're trying to help somebody out, and meanwhile, you're learning. So they're helping you out by giving you an opportunity. So it was very, very powerful. And it's great because you learn through actually writing a grant,
Mhm.
but you get that mentorship. So you know what you're doing, you get the biweekly sessions, any questions you have, you can post on the discussion board. It's phenomenal how much support and help you get through the whole process, which is another thing that helped me get over that fear,
Hmm.
the
Yeah. So
accessibility and the
you didn't have to
knowledge.
do it by yourself. You were not alone
Exactly.
in the process, and that's really important because it's like when you gonna have questions, and
Hmm.
you want those questions to make sure they're answered. Now, tell me this: you went and you reached out to some nonprofits. I remember, like you just said, and I remember you saying that you made some interesting discoveries in terms of how much of a demand there was for people wanting a grant writer. Tell me, tell me what happened in that when you start going down that road.
Oh, absolutely. So I did get a chance to go to a meeting for some local nonprofits here, and this organization was actually administering a grant. And they had told me within 13 counties last year for a $2,000 grant, they only had 3 applications
Wow.
within 13 counties. And when I asked the question why, some knowledgeable people within the organization said that a lot of these nonprofits just don't have the time
Mm.
to commit to researching grants and writing grant proposals. So that to me was really an eye opener. Um, and I know, there's a lot of need.
Yeah, and the good thing is now you're positioning yourself to meet that need, and I'm sure you're going to do really well. Now you started working on a proposal. You got the proposal. You got over all those different humps you talked about from those different emotions, which is very, very natural.
Hmm.
And then you actually finalized and put together what I remember to be a really, really remarkable proposal. Tell me about what that felt like getting to the finish line after going those weeks and working on it and then finally doing something that you said you've been wanting to do for over 10 years.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I felt such a sense of accomplishment and self-worth. And
Mm.
thinking of the impact that the project would have. Now, this was a sample, but it's a real program. And I hope to work with the nonprofit who um, has put on this program.
Uh-huh.
And I hope that they can buy and use this proposal. And just thinking of the impact that funding would have on it was for a mental health program in
Uh-huh.
schools for middle schoolers and high schoolers. And thinking of the impact that project would have
Mm.
if I could get funding for that is incredible.
Yeah.
That makes me very, very proud.
That's great. You should be. It came out really good. And you told me that you took the proposal over to the prospective, not the funder, but you actually took it to the person that was the executive, and they got a chance to take a look at it. What was their reaction when they saw the work that you had done? on their proposal?
I think that she was really wowed by it. I really do. I think that she,
Bravo. Way
yes,
to
thank
go.
you. Thank
Way to
you.
go. So the cool thing is now you have something in your arsenal that you've written on for a few projects. And do you feel like now, after going through this journey, learning what you learned, being where you're at now, that you're ready to launch off to doing more grants?
Absolutely. I'm ready. I am ready. I want to get funding for these projects that will contribute to society and make the world a better place. I'm ready.
Yeah,
And
I
I
believe you are.
thank
I know.
you. And I
And
and
in
I do
fact,
feel I do feel too that a lot of nonprofit organizations, they don't know about a lot of the grant opportunities that are available. And that's something else that we learned through Grant Central USA. And that is such a valuable skill.
yeah, and you with your background in education and with your skill with the mental health knowledge there as well, and now seeing you take what you did and put together that proposal you put together, it's amazing. It's just a matter of time. I know you're submitting those before you start getting funded. So just in case you are an executive director out there and you don't right now you don't have a grant writer, you're looking for somebody to write that grant. You better get this Starr right here while she's still available because
Thank you.
she's doing some remarkable work, and I'm
Thank
really
you.
proud, really proud of what you've done. Now,
Thank you, Rodney.
if they want to find you, just in case they want to find you later on,
Yes.
can they go over to your maybe? I know you're on LinkedIn for sure, and
Yes.
and you spell it Elizabeth Starr with two R's, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Elizabeth Starr with 2 R's.
Yeah, so go check her out and reach out to her if you're looking for a grant writer. She does. I'm telling you, based upon what I saw, she did a remarkable job. Now, tell me this, Elizabeth, is there anything else that you would say to somebody, or what would you say to somebody that was where you were just a few months ago, thinking
Hmm.
about this, wanting to do this, having this itch, but kind of like right there, centered in doubt, or maybe centered in fear, or maybe lacking confidence. What would you say to that person about moving forward to really accomplish learning about grant writing? What would you say to them?
I would say go for it.
Mm,
Try to just subside the fear and just go for it. Even if you have the fear and the doubts, go for it anyway. Trust the process and believe in yourself. If you
mm.
want to do this, just break on through and keep going.
Yeah, break on through. That's really good. I think when I think about what you've done, that's exactly what you did. You had the desire, but you took action. You took
Mhm.
action. And then what I like about what I heard you say is that you kept on trusting the process and didn't stop until you got to what you wanted to accomplish. And for that, I really commend you. And it's remarkable to see how fast you've acquired the skill in such a short time. And
Thank
just
you.
to see some amazing things come your way. And I know funding is going to come your way. So will you do me a favor? Will you let me know as soon as one of those grants, one of those mini grants get funded? Because I know I'm going to be hearing about funding success in the
Yes.
near future, and excited about that. So tell me this one last thing as we get ready to wrap up. Where we're right now in 2019, uh, in around August, the beginning of August. Where do you see yourself being in the next year in terms of taking this skill that you have now, this marketable skill? What do you see yourself doing with that skill now that you have it in your hands?
Absolutely. So what I would like to do is I have I have one of two goals in mind. Either finding 3 clients that I can write for with annual contracts.
Mm,
I can do so many grants within a year's time,
okay,
uh, or getting a full-time job with a nonprofit who is looking for a grant writer. And I have
very,
been applying for those jobs. So
very
um,
nice. That's
Yes.
great.
Yes.
That's great. It's coming. It's just a matter of time. So I'll look forward to connecting with you later on once both of those become a reality because I see them coming really, really soon.
Thank you.
Elizabeth, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for sharing hope with others that are on the fence and wanting to do this and giving them some encouragement to be able to move forward. So I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you so
Thank you,
very much.
Rodney.
All
Thank
right.
you for this opportunity. I
Yeah,
appreciate the interview.
you're most welcome. Have a good
Okay.
one. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Sounds great. Bye-bye.